And on Sunday, October 16th, at 1:58 a.m., the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles were officially pronounced dead. The cause of death has some controversy around it, but the leading theory is that it died due to a lack of a heart. And honestly, it's kind of amazing that the team, was able to survive this long without a heart, considering, you kind of need a heart to live. But for the infinitieth year in a row, this team has died from a fear-induced heart attack after seeing runners on base. It's truly amazing. But now that they're dead, I wanted to finally remember this Dodger team and pay them tribute here tonight. And oftentimes, when something you love dies, it hurts, and you feel pain and sadness and anger. And while this team did make me feel all of that, it was also like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know exactly what's going to happen, and you just have to sit and watch. Or at least that is what I would say, if the team didn't win 111 freaking games. So yeah, I kind of came into this series with some expectations. This car crash for the Dodgers was like it was going in fast motion, and really only one member of it ended up going to heaven. Good work, Fred. Did great, Freeman. Love you, big guy. Bless up. But the first Dodger to reach heck was Cody Bellinger. He was so bad, he got benched for a guy who ended up being even worse, and got to the point that Dodger fans were calling for Joey Gallo to start in an elimination game. Another player, the former hero turned geriatric bum named Justin Turner, hit below 200 and sealed his fate as a grumpy minor league manager. Supposed superstar William Smith left more runners on base than Phillip Rivers has kids. Trey Turner made a pact with the devil to learn how to hit in October, but in exchange, he started playing defense like his name was Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Mookie Betts just stunk. I don't even have a joke for him. He was just awful. Austin Barnes is still Blake Snell's daddy, but he forgot how to teach the rest of the kids how to hit, so he's just another failure of a father. Chris Taylor, like Mookie Betts, also stinks, but he at least had the courtesy to never look competent, and he never got my hopes up. Unfortunately, though, striking out 5 times in 7 at-bats still gets you sent to heck, so have fun hanging out with Madison Bumgarner, you wonderful human, Christopher. And while the offense got itself ran over by a parked car, some people still found a way to blame Dave Roberts, who, granted, still being sent to heck, he was horrible. He at least had the courtesy to get hit by a slowly moving car. But the real best part of this whole travesty is that come spring training, I'll convince myself things will be different next year. That this is their year, and that it'll be their year. For this is the truest cycle of pain on this miserable planet. But honestly, I can't wait till next year when I drink myself to sleep again after we get bounced by the 82-win Diamondbacks. And so I would like to thank everybody for joining us here on the Victory Lap. I am James Boss. Joined alongside me is Shane Tinney. We're having ourselves a wonderful Thursday night. Shane, how you feeling?
I am doing good, and I just would like to say, are you okay?
No. I'm not. Did you hear the song that was playing before this?
Yes, and that was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
The book you just wrote about the Dodgers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I never want to talk about them again until like 2 months from now when free agency starts and I start getting my hopes up because apparently they're going to try and sign Aaron Judge, even though it shouldn't happen. Don't do it, Dodgers.
Won't.
Don't do it.
He's staying put.
Don't do it, Andrew.
Anyways, are you sure there's not anything else you want to get out?
No. No.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all. Do you want to get anything off your chest? The Yankees are doing pretty hot right now.
Yeah. We're going to switch from the Dodgers to the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Dodgers anymore. Yeah. We're moving on there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I am sure.
Okay, all right.
Continue.
So, yeah, the Yankees, they're currently down 3-2 right now to Houston. We dropped last night's game, and a game that I kind of felt like we were at a disadvantage from the start. I mean, the Astros were coming off a few days of rest. The Yankees had just played the night before and had to travel all the way to Houston. So I think, but at the same time, we talked about this earlier, they were in a position to win that game. And if they did take that game last night, that would have been a steal of a game. That would have been pivotal in this series. But yeah, and they beat Cleveland, but it took them 5 games. And I remember a couple weeks ago, I did predict a sweep. which that turned out I was wrong.
Yeah. You know who else predicted a sweep?
Who predicted a sweep?
Michael Kay.
He did.
That guy said the Yankees had absolutely no business losing to a single game to those Guardians. They lost 2 of them.
Yeah, he did, and he was confident.
He was. I've never met a man more confident in my life.
No, and it made me feel confident because not a lot of people know, who knows the Yankees better than Michael Kay?
Apparently, a lot of people.
Apparently, but yeah, it took us 5 games, but I mean, Cleveland, they were kind of they were scrappy.
Oh, they were. They were very
were
scrappy. I mean, that's their whole mentality.
Yeah.
They small ball and scrap.
Yeah, but I think for the Yankees, the MVP of that series was Garrett Cole.
Absolutely, no question.
I mean, he in both games he pitched, he was great, and then in Game 5 he came to Aaron Boone and said after throwing, I believe, over 100 pitches,
over 110,
111,
something like that.
I think he threw. Yeah, told Aaron Boone, "Yo, if you need me, I'm ready." You really can't ask for a better pitcher than that.
No.
As far as winning at all costs, he was ready, and then he was warming up in the 9th inning. They showed. So, but yeah, I think Houston is gonna be a tough one. I think the stars got to shine, right? Judge has to be regular season Judge. Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton has 2 hits in the postseason, but they're both home runs.
It's got to count for something, right?
It's gotta. I mean, it was enough to beat the Guardians. So,
I heard you almost tripped up there.
Yeah,
they'll get you. They'll get you.
We're still getting used to the name change, but yeah. I mean, the Yankees obviously they don't have home field advantage in this series, so I just think they have to be great if they want to advance past Houston. And after tonight's game, we're coming home to Yankee Stadium. I hope the crowd is ready, and I hope they didn't forget what the Astros did a few years ago.
I don't think anybody who has watched baseball in the last 10 years has forgotten what the Astros did in 2017. It's kind of hard to forget that. Everybody hates them with all of their heart.
Yeah.
Anybody outside of Houston who likes the Astros, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree.
Get it together. But, I mean, yeah, the Yankees have to win tonight. They have to find a way to come back and pull this one out, because if they go home to Yankee Stadium down 2-0, they're dead. It's over.
Yep.
Garrett Cole will win them a game probably, because that just seems like where he's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's only going to pitch one time in Yankee Stadium. You got to at least even up the series so you can afford to drop 2 of those games and then hope you can stay alive. It's tough for the Yankees. They're not in a great spot. I mean, you kind of knew coming off those 2 rain delay games that the Yankees were going to be coming into this series tired, and you saw it in Game 1. I mean, you also saw Aaron Boone just putting on an absolute clinic of bad managing.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there is part of it is that, but at the same time, I mean, you score 1 run. That's not Aaron Boone. That's your offense.
Yeah, we're kind of used to questionable decisions by Aaron Boone at this point. We've seen it all season long, and yeah. As far as tonight's game, we were just watching it a little bit ago. They got 2 runs, but really, they kind of got lucky getting those 2 runs.
They got very lucky. Framber error is the only reason that happened.
Those two errors.
Yeah.
Really were routine ground balls in the infield that really they both should have been out, and the Astros honestly should be up 3-0 right now.
Yep.
But obviously, 3-2, we're in this game. It's, like you said, you can't go down 0-2. To this team, you're not coming back. I don't think we would come back from a 2-0 deficit to the Houston Astros.
Yeah, I don't really see there being any real chance that. I still think the Yankees are probably getting swept this series because I don't think they're coming back today. I don't even think Garrett Cole can stop the Astros offense. I think Yordan Alvarez is going to single-handedly win them that game because he can. He is that good. And even if Garrett Cole is good, I don't know who the Astros are going to throw at him. Probably either Luis Garcia or probably McCullers, maybe Javier. I don't really see the Yankees hitting any of those guys. The Astros are so annoying because they're so good at baseball. They don't have any flaws.
Yep.
They won 106 games for a reason. This team is so good, and that's part of why the cheating scandal is so annoying, is because this team was already that good. They didn't need to cheat. They did it anyway, but it's just it makes me hate them that much more. It makes kind of every single series that they're playing in just feel like a cakewalk.
Yeah, and we saw Verlander pitch yesterday.
He's unhittable.
It felt like we couldn't do anything with him.
Yeah. I mean, he did have a bigger strike zone than he ever should have, so that helps. But, even without that, 11 strikeouts in 6 innings is 11 strikeouts in 6 innings.
Yeah, I mean, that at that point, it's like, all right, it's just not your night. Yep. It's not our night. Yep. So
they had chances early, and they couldn't capitalize, and Verlander's only going to give you so many of those. And, I mean, after the second inning, I mean, he was lights out. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like we said, and that was coming off of a visibly tired Yankees team.
Yep.
From the last series, and less than 24 hours ago, they were playing the Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, they were so tired that Frankie Montas pitched.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but no, I think this game tonight is the pivotal game in this series, I would say. And if we can even it up 1-1 going back to Yankee Stadium, you feel good about that. If you go down 0-2 to Yankee Stadium, kind of feel like your season is very much on the line, if not flirting with being over.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Houston, man. They got a squad.
They are, as one might call them, a wagon.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's going to do it for the first bit of our show. Baseball talk is going to be wrapped up on the other side. We'll have a whole lot of football for the rest of the way. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on this quick little first portion of the victory lap. But don't you worry. We're going to be going for a while, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun football topics coming up. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening to us here tonight, and we'll be back on the other side. And thank you all for joining us here on the second half of the Victory Lap. I am James, joined alongside me is Shane. And now that we're in the football portion of things, Bills-Chiefs happened this weekend. Is this the new classic matchup?
I would have to say it is. During the game, I believe, I can't remember if it was Jim Nantz or Tony Romo who made this comparison, but they said it's like the new Brady versus Peyton Manning. And I really think it's a great comparison. It really is. It's like, I feel like everybody was looking forward to this week 6 matchup, and just because of last year what we saw in that playoff game, that was one of the best football games ever that I've watched. And I mean, these guys are just so entertaining to watch. I mean, Josh Allen is he's more athletic than you would think he is. And Patrick Mahomes, we see what he can do with the sidearm throws, the scrambling out of the pockets, and the hurdle by Josh Allen. These guys are just so fun to watch. I mean, in their supporting cast, the Bills are number 1 in the power rankings, and the Chiefs are number 3. So I think, yes, the Bills-Chiefs is the new marquee classic matchup in today's league.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Absolutely, this is the new classic matchup. I will say the only thing that kind of detracts from it being a classic is that they play every single year. It almost makes it, lose some of the novelty of it since you see it so much. That was part of the beauty of, the old Rodgers-Brady matchups is, they happen, every 4 years, so it was kind of rare. This, they play almost every season. I think they'll be, once every 4 years they don't play or something. But that shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
These aren't just the 2 best young quarterbacks. These are probably the 2 best quarterbacks in the entire league.
And it's so close. And
you can really call them the 1A, 1B.
Yep.
It's
I mean, for the game, Josh Allen had 329 yards with 3 touchdowns. Mahomes 338 with 2 touchdowns. But he did have those 2 interceptions. He had 2 interceptions coming into this game on the season, and he threw 2 in that game. So, I mean, Mahomes, by his standards, had an off game, and he still threw for 338.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes is the alien of the NFL, because a bad game for Mahomes is better than almost anybody's best game of the year.
Yep.
That's the beauty of Patrick Mahomes. Granted, doesn't mean this one probably isn't the case when you're throwing 2 picks. A lot of people are probably going to not do that. But still, he's so absurd. And it's this is just such a special matchup. We've seen it happen 5 times between this year and the last 2 seasons. They've played 5 times. The Bills have won 2 out of 3 in the regular season. Unfortunately, they've played twice in the playoffs, and you know how that's gone. Chiefs have won both times. Pat's got his number in the playoffs. Josh has got his number in the regular season. Oh, man, these teams they're so good. It's unreal how good these two teams are. And as long as really these two quarterbacks are there, they're both going to be great teams. Patrick Mahomes has shown that. I mean, yeah, he's got Travis Kelce, who's a freak of nature, but he doesn't need elite receivers. It's not like he's working with any right now anyway, so it's like he can get it done with just about anything as long as you get Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. That offense is going to be clicking. And then Josh is Josh. I don't know what more there is to say about him. The guy can carry anything.
He's got his guy Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, he's got Diggs. He doesn't need Diggs, I don't think. He would be fine without him. I mean, he's unreal.
Yeah.
It's amazing. His back still works, honestly.
Yeah, and on the season, Allen has 1,900 passing yards, 1,980. Mahomes has 1,736. That's number one and number three. Like, in terms of what their production on the field, it's just right there with each other. And we can all only hope that in the playoffs this year, they'll run into each other again, because I want to watch them play each other again.
Yep. It seems like every single time these guys play in the regular season, it's an AFC Championship preview.
Yeah.
Every single time. Because, I mean, these are the two best teams in the league. Like, kind of by a wide margin. Like, the Eagles are obviously great.
Yeah.
But this just seems like the Chiefs and Bills are 1 and 2. And, I mean, can you argue it, really? Can you?
I mean, the Bills and the Chiefs, and then, like, you mentioned the Eagles, they're right there, but the Eagles still haven't played a team as good as these guys. Yeah.
I mean, they just beat the Cowboys, but we'll get into it later. I'm not so sure the Cowboys are all that. And so it's like, I don't know. I can't put the Eagles on that level yet, because really, I mean, the Chiefs and the Bills are absurdly good. And the only reason they're as absurdly good as they are is because of these two guys. So yeah, as long as they're there, this is a classic matchup every single time they trot out against each other.
Yeah, in the beginning of the season, I remember, I think we talked about it. There's week 6 Chiefs and Bills, so like it's just
it's the matchup you look forward to. It's the one that for the next end of time, probably until these guys retire, it's going to be the ones you circle on your calendar looking into every single season.
Yeah, and it's great for the game too.
It is.
Yeah. You know what else is great for the game?
Don't do it.
You know what else is great for the game? A New York team or teams.
Teams. All three of them.
Well, okay, all three of them, sure.
Yeah.
But specifically, the Giants and the Jets. We're going to start with the Giants first, who are having a heck of a season, starting off 5-1. Do you know the last time they started 5-1?
Couldn't tell you.
2009. They released the power rankings for this week, and we are number 5. I don't know when the last time we would have been that high, but we talked about it last week. Mainly, I talked about it last week. Saquon Barkley is a stud and the best running back in the league, and still, on a week-to-week basis, making his case for the Offensive Player of the Year. And he's still leading the league in scrimmage yards with 771. And, like, Coach Dable, I cannot say enough about the atmosphere change he has brought to this team. You just see the more positive energy on the sidelines and in the interviews and stuff. And just comparing that to last year that team was so hard to watch. I mean, like the revolving door from quarterback, we had Jake Fromm in there, Mike Glennon. It was a disaster. And comparing that team to this year, it's a completely different story in a team. So I'm loving it. It's great to see, because Saquon Barkley is an elite talent, and I'm just glad he is staying healthy for now. Let's knock on wood. But it's just when he's healthy, he's, to me, undoubtedly one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best.
I would just like to backpedal for a second. I don't want to hear you disrespect Jake Fromm ever again. Man is a legend. He runs State Farm. Don't talk to him like that.
He's no Danny Dimes this year.
Oh, well, obviously, nobody's Danny Dimes this year.
No one's Danny Dimes this year.
Danny Dimes has been untouched this year.
That's another thing. Again, we talked about him last week too. He's doing enough. He's doing enough to win games. He's not making the errors he used to make last year and years prior. I think he's grown as a quarterback, and I credit a lot of that to Coach Dable. He's not going out there and throwing for 350 and 3 touchdowns. I just don't think that's his game, but he's putting them in positions to win games. He's not losing them games.
No, and that's something that he'd been doing for the last however many years he's been with the Giants. It's kind of amazing to see how good he looks. I don't know if it's exclusively Dable or if Jones legitimately has taken a step forward, because really he hasn't done a whole lot this year. They haven't needed him to do a whole lot this year. He's only had one game at 200 yards. But they're winning. They're 5-1. That's got to mean something. Obviously, the defense has been incredible.
The defense won them that game against the Ravens.
The defense has won them pretty much every game this year.
Yeah, they were down 10 in the fourth quarter. And with about 2 minutes left in the game, the Giants pick off Lamar for their first interception of the season, fun fact.
Really?
First interception of the year. Julian Love picked off Lamar to put them in a position to score, and then that was when Saquon dove into the end zone like he was Michael Jordan from Space Jam, reaching out the ball to the end zone. But yeah, and then after that, Kayvon Thibodeau came around the corner and strip sacked Lamar. So like the defense won them that game. It's great to see, and I will stick with my statement of the Giants are winning 12 games this year, and we're going to be in the postseason.
Yeah, I think 12 might be a bit of a stretch. I will say they have an absolute cakewalk of a schedule coming up.
They do.
They're at Jacksonville, which I love them, but my goodness, they look bad right now. And then they're at Seattle, who Geno Smith has looked like him.
He's him.
He is, in fact, him.
He is, in fact, him and not Russell Wilson.
Or Russell Westbrook either. I mean, neither of them. You don't want to be either. But so Seattle could, I guess, give them problems. But I mean, at the end of the day, do we still really think Seattle's that good? Because I don't.
No.
Then they have a bye, and then they host Houston, and then they host Detroit. I like the Lions. Their defense is horrible, and I mean, I assume Jared Goff will not look like rookie Jared Goff against the Giants defense, but it's possible. Who knows? So. Yeah, they got a really easy schedule coming up. They still got both their games against the Commanders, but at the same time, they still have both their games against the Eagles. I don't think they might win one. Maybe. It's going to be tight. This defense is good, but I mean, the Eagles are unreal this year. They're not going undefeated, but they're probably going to sweep the division. At least they should.
Yeah, I think the two games against the Eagles on their schedule is the only games I look at on there, and I'm like, okay, that's a tough one. Everybody else we play are winnable games.
They're all winnable. I think Dallas, when they're healthy, is going to be tough, and Minnesota is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, there's four games that I think you guys can lose. I mean, there's probably more, but before then, that because football's random and any given Sunday, after all, you can lose at any time.
Yep.
So it's not a guarantee for half of them, but there's really only four games that are penciled in as true 50-50s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like we talk about the receiving room that Daniel Jones is working with.
Abysmal, atrocious even.
It's the worst in the league. Is that fair?
You could argue. I'm not sure you'd be wrong. It's horrible.
Yeah, and it's just it doesn't matter. We're still 5-1.
Yep.
I mean, it's Saquon, man. He is him this year for sure. And but who also shares the stadium with us are the Jets. Are the Jets back?
Were they ever there? I mean, I guess they made the AFC Championship a couple times, but I mean, they sucked. It's not like they were actually that good. They had Mark Sanchez as their quarterback. So I'm not sure I'd say they're back, but they're good. The Jets are good. And I will say, I am not high on the Green Bay Packers this year. I don't think they're a good football team. I think their offense is bad, like very bad. With all that being said, the Jets dominated them in every single way.
They did.
So, like, maybe they're not back because they were never there in the first place, but they're a good football team, and I think the Jets are legit. I think they're a legitimate contender to make the playoffs this year.
I agree. Yeah, I think, a better question would be, are the New York Jets a credible team this season?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they're off to a 4-2 record. That's the first time they started 4-2 since 2015, which it's going back a few years now.
That is a few years. That was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. And they're number 9 in the power rankings.
Rightfully so.
And Breece Hall,
dude, he's good. I mean, I didn't really peg him as someone who's going to be really good coming into the year. And I will gladly, own that one. He's really good. They're great. He's great. Like it's something else. I I never expected him to be as good as he is because, I mean, you look at the game against Miami, he had 197 total yards. He almost had 100 yards on the ground and through the air. What
Who
are we
does
doing?
that?
What are we doing?
Yeah. Yep.
Through the air, I mean, like catching the ball.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yes.
But he is something special. He ran all over the Packers. I mean, he had 116 yards against the Packers on the ground. I mean, that whole running game has completely revolutionized this offense. And Zach Wilson, credit to him, the MILF Hunters got it. He looks incredible.
They're 3-0 since he came back. I mean, he's hot. Like, how would we grade him as a QB this year?
Zach Wilson,
because I feel like it's still very early to tell.
It's early. He didn't have to do a whole lot against the Packers, but in his first 2 games, 252 and 210. Like, he's looked good. You can't really. He's gone 3-0 in his 3 starts, and he's looked good in his 3 starts. I don't really know what more you really can ask out of him. I mean, he's doing his job. He's winning them football games, and it's not like he's doing it against bad teams either. The Steelers, granted, they're not the same. That team isn't the same without T.J. Watt.
Yep.
But it's still good. It's still a very good football team, and he went in there and beat them 2 for 252. And then he went and absolutely dominated Miami. I mean, dominated Miami.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the Dolphins, they weren't playing. They didn't have Tua, but you scored 40 on that defense.
40 points is 40
Zach
points.
Wilson has nothing to do with who he, like the quarterback going against him.
Yep.
He can only control what he's doing, and 40 points. I mean, sure, I think they had 5 rushing touchdowns, but like 40 points is 40 points.
You're
at the end
doing
of the day.
something right if you drop 40 points.
Exactly, and
It don't matter who it's against.
exactly, and then goes out, beats the Packers 27-10. Packers defense is solid. It's a good defense. 27 points against a good defense like that is impressive. So I think Zach Wilson is I think he's a legitimately good quarterback. He may not be like blowing the world out, like he might not be really shocking them, but he's looked really good, and there's not much more you can really ask out of him.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defense earlier. Yeah, since Zach Wilson came back, they're 3-0, and on that 3-game winning streak, they haven't allowed more than 20 points a game. So their defense is putting them in position to win games. And then we all Sauce Gardner.
Oh, Sauce. That's supposed to make me upset. As a Packer fan, I'm supposed to be mad watching him wear a cheese head leaving the field. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know. Has anyone else ever done that? An opposing player?
I haven't seen it.
I've never seen that before.
I mean, Alan Lazard smacked it off his head, but like, you don't have the right to do that. That guy just babied you the entire game. Did you see that one drag route with Alan Lazard, had probably 5 yards of separation when the ball was in the air, and then Sauce Gardner ran him down and broke it up? Like, Sauce is so unreal.
He's good, man.
It's insane just how good of a corner he is. He's already in the running for the best corner in football, and he's played 6 games. It's
clear as day. You can just see this guy. He's gonna be a future star in this league, if not already. Like, you know, he's got the swag and everything, and like, who else is doing that? Putting the cheese head on after the game?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Who can do that and like pull it off? That's another thing.
Yeah. And we remember on draft night, it was talked about the Jets had a very good draft. So it's almost like, I don't want to say we should have seen this coming, but like, man, the first round of that draft, they drafted very well.
They had a good draft, but I mean, like you said, I don't think just having a good draft isn't going to turn you into a great team, because another team that had a really good draft was the Lions. I thought they killed the draft, and they're 1-5 or 1-4 because they just came off the bye. Like, I'm a big Lions fan this year. I'm a big Lions fan this year. They almost lost to the bye. It was tough.
Yeah, but before we move on to our next topic, how many games could you see the New York Jets winning this year?
I could see them pulling out 10. I'd have to look at their schedule because I don't know it off the top of my head.
Because I have 9 to 10 on here. I think that's reasonable for them. They're 4-2 now. They won 3 in a row. They're gaining momentum, and you can just see it off of the win to Green Bay.
I could see them honestly winning 10 to 12. I think they're kind of in the same position as the Giants. They don't have a whole lot of super hard games left. They got both their games against the Bills, but I mean, they still got 2 against the Pats. I mean, they have a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That should be an easy one for them.
Yep.
They're better than the Jags. I can tell you that much. And it's a Thursday night game, so it's probably going to be 6-9.
Probably.
Yeah, they have a pretty light schedule the rest of the way. Outside of Buffalo, I mean, I think the only other team with the winning record that they're playing is the Vikings. So you could certainly make a case that they can take 12 games on this season.
It's a good year for the two New Jersey teams.
Stop that.
It's a good year for them.
Stop that.
We haven't seen this in a while.
We have not seen this in a while. You know something else we haven't seen in a while?
What's that?
Aaron Rodgers looking as bad as he does right now. Do you think it's the official decline of Aaron Rodgers?
So this is tough because he's 38 years old, and obviously that's up there. But for a quarterback of his stature, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, combine that with the new rules implemented in the league to protect quarterbacks, he should be able to give the Packers another good 3 years, I would say. But, man, I think the biggest glaring fact of the Packers, losing Davante Adams hurt, like, a lot. And he's not really working with a lot. I mean, his number one target is Alan Lazard. I mean, how do we grade him? He's just a middle of the pack guy, right?
He's a decent number 2.
He's a decent number 2. Yeah.
Not even a good number 2. He's a decent number 2. I'm with you. I don't think Rodgers is bad. He just won 2 straight MVPs. He's not bad. Like, obviously, he's still got something left in the tank. The issue, like you said, is the receivers.
Yep.
But at the same time, the issue is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been the reason they were so good for the last however long he's been in the league. Now he's the reason they're bad. Because if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers being the most unlikable person and overpaid quarterback, they would have either Davante Adams or a good receiver. They can't afford anybody because they pay him too much money. And Davante left because Rodgers is so unlikable. When you have that kind of combo, you're going to have a bad football team. There's a reason Tom Brady has been so good for so long because he's not asking to be the highest paid quarterback in the entire league.
And he recruits everyone that comes and plays for him.
Exactly. Aaron Rodgers, nobody wants to play for him. Doesn't matter if he's good. People are like, oh, that guy, every one of his old teammates hate him. Why do I want to be there? It's like he has no selling point. Just because you're a great quarterback doesn't mean that like people want to play for you. People want to play for people that are likable. Aaron Rodgers is the opposite of likable. And it drives people away from the Packers, and it drives people out of the Packers. And so he's the reason that they're losing games. It's not because he's a bad quarterback. It's just because he's so gosh darn unlikable, and he gets paid way too much money.
$150 million he signed this year for 3 years, for over 3 years. But yeah, I mean, we remember last season, or at least their first game of the year, it was talked about. He got off to a slow start.
Oh, it was a terrible start.
Yeah.
He looked awful. I did think it was done after that one.
Yeah, and then he went on to win MVP.
Yep.
But at this point in the season, we're 6 games in now. It's not, we're into the season now. It's not like it's the first couple of games, and we still haven't seen the Aaron Rodgers that we've seen over the past decade, if not more. So I think what they should do is make a run at a wide receiver before the deadline, which is on November 1st.
The rumor that, or at least the thing that's floating around for the Packers is Elijah Moore. He just requested a trade.
Yep.
And, I mean, the Jets have said, we're not trading him. He's a second-year player. We drafted him in the second round last year. He's not going anywhere. So I don't really think he's going to get traded. But if he does, the Packers should make a run for him.
Yeah, either him or... Yeah, because you got to get Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you're never going to replace Davante Adams, right? But I think a smart move for that team would bring in a solid wide receiver that he can work with, and not to mention the running game either. Like, Aaron Jones really hasn't been all that.
You know why?
Because he's on my fantasy team.
No. Has nothing to do with that. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon have done nothing because defenses know that they can just stack the box and say, all right, you trash receivers, go beat us.
Yep.
They can't do it because no one on this team can get separation, and anyone who can't catch the football. So, like, what's the point of, dropping anyone in coverage when you don't really even need to cover most of them? So that's why Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon have been as bad as they have been. It's just defense is just keying on the run.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. I mean, when you don't have to respect the pass, it's a lot harder to run the football.
Yeah, and also because Aaron Jones is on my fantasy team, I feel like.
He was on mine. I just traded him.
Oh, that's a smart move.
It was a good move. Traded him and ETN for Dalvin Cook.
That's a good play. That was a good play right there. Dalvin Cook's had a good.
I like Dalvin Cook.
He's
good.
Too. But so moving on to another quarterback situation in the league, a little bit of controversy with the Dallas Cowboys. We saw Cooper Rush play the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night. We discussed if Cooper Rush can go out there and beat Philly, there's going to be a real conversation there for when Dak comes back. But he went out there and threw 3 picks and had his worst game of the season. So, do you think they miss Dak now?
Yeah, they do. I was a little too hard on Dak last week and too high on Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush isn't that good. I mean, he was, like we said, a game manager. We knew he was just a game manager, but we thought it would, at least, he was a game manager who didn't turn the ball over.
He was getting it done.
Yeah. We found out that if he has even a millisecond of pressure, he just falls apart. So, yeah, I think it's kind of safe to say that he's not actually very good. I don't think Dak is that great either, but he's at least better than Cooper Rush.
Yeah, and I mean, Cooper Rush, he had 0 interceptions all year coming into this game, and then he threw 3 against the Eagles. And granted, the Eagles are, we said earlier, a top 3 team in the league, easily. So that was kind of a lot to ask for him to go out there and beat them, but I think Dak, so they said that he is in line to play on Sunday, and they got the Lions at home. So
that's a great game to get Dak back in on. It is a
great game to come back to play. But yeah, but still, Dak, you better go out there and be great though, because I think he still has pressure on him. Because sure, Cooper Rush had an awful game against the Eagles, but they did win games with him at quarterback. So I think, yeah, Dak, you better go out there and you better play, because yeah, Cooper Rush can win games as well.
Yeah, I mean,
at least easy ones.
He can win you the easy ones. If you give him a bad team, Cooper Rush will probably beat it.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, I 100% let Cooper Rush go to my head. It happens. Happens to the best of us.
Well, no,
I let the Lions go to my head. Let the Jaguars go to my head.
I think
Cooper Rush gave us a reason to let him go to our head.
Absolutely.
But we really probably, I think, looking back at it, we should have said, all right, Coop, do it against a good team. Granted, he did beat the Giants. So maybe
he did beat the Giants.
So
there
is that.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, the Giants are a good team. You said this. You think they're winning 12 games.
They are winning 12.
That qualifies as a good team.
We are winning 12. How about 13? How about that?
14.
We're gonna stick at 13. How many cases do we put?
I'll put 5 cases on that.
5? Okay.
5 cases on 13.
13 games. But yeah, no, Dak, you better beat the Lions, Dak.
If Dak can't beat the Lions, he should get fired. If Dak doesn't drop, I'll give him 30. If he doesn't drop 30, he should get fired. He should drop 40. But if he doesn't drop 30, I want them to trade Dak for literally anybody. Because, obviously, he is not the answer.
No. And he has offensive weapons to work with.
He's got plenty.
Oh, he
got a whole lot of them.
Yeah, he needs to get CeeDee Lamb going a little bit more, because another guy on my fantasy team who has had average production, but hopefully when Dak comes back out there, he can get him the ball more and score some more touchdowns. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, and seeing him out there again. So
another backup quarterback who is taking the spotlight is Bailey Zappe, who looked like the second coming of Christ against the Browns last weekend. What do we think about Zappe starting over Mac Jones when Mac is healthy?
See, this is a tougher decision, right? Because it's not like Mac Jones is this seasoned vet that's been in the league for years. Mac Jones is still kind of being felt out, I would say. He played well last year. I think they had that stretch of games where they won 6 straight games last year with Mac Jones at QB, and his record as a starter since he's been in the league is 11-9. So he's just been okay, middle of the pack QB, but based off the very small sample size that we've seen with Bailey Zappe, he's gone 2-0 as a starter. He just threw for over 300 yards last week. He's another one that's putting the pressure on his the QB1. So I don't know. I think, and it's a good problem to have for the Patriots because
Great problem.
It is, and especially in terms of Mac Jones healing, it's not like Bailey Zappe is going out there and just losing games looking terrible.
No.
He's almost, that gives you time to let Mac Jones recover. So yeah, I think Mac Jones, yeah, the pressure's on you because we're seeing Bailey Zappe win games, and yeah, he's gone 2-0. So I don't know. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I stan Bailey Zappe. I think he is incredible, and I think Mac Jones is a big stinky loser. Bailey Zappe.
That's awfully harsh.
Is it? Has there ever been a time where Mac Jones has actually impressed you as a quarterback? Once? Because he's never really looked that great, honestly. I mean, the Patriots had a few massive blowout wins, but most of the time it wasn't really Mac. It was the defense playing really good and then playing a really bad team, and then just the entire offense just kind of taking over. So I don't really think Mac Jones is all that good. I'm not sure Bailey Zappe is great because we've seen him play 2 games, but in this last game against the Browns, he looked better than Mac Jones ever has.
Yep.
And I think at the very least that's something to, look at. I think if they actually pull out a win this weekend, then yes, Bailey Zappe should absolutely be starting. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's against the Bears. I don't really care who they're playing. If Zappe goes 3-0, he starts. Mac Jones is not a good enough quarterback to have earned the right to say, I should automatically start when I'm healthy.
I mean, I agree. I guess it comes to the point where, where do you stop a guy's momentum? If Zappe's out there winning games, if you're Belichick, you got to think, dude, we're winning football games. Why, if it's not broke, don't fix it?
Yep.
So yeah, that's an interesting situation out there in New England that they're gonna have to make a decision about. But yeah, if like you said, if Zappe goes 3-0 this weekend, I think he might be the new starter.
He should be. Honestly, I think if he has a good game, he should be the new starter. I don't even think he needs to win as long as he plays good. Granted, if he plays good and loses to the Bears, the Patriots have more problems than Bailey Zappe. So there is that.
That's true.
But I mean, really, you got to look at it from another stance. It's I think that if there was any team that would just cut ties on a first-round quarterback for a random fourth-rounder who went 3-0, it's the Patriots because Bill Belichick does this kind of thing.
Yep.
You can be decent and he'll kick you to the curb and It won't matter. So Mac Jones, you said it. He's been 11-9. It's not. I mean, it's a winning record, but it's not by a whole lot. It's just a pretty good. It's a solid football team, but it's not a great football team. And Bill Belichick doesn't care about a solid football team. He cares about a great one. And Bailey Zappe has made the Pats look great. What more do you need?
Yeah, and Belichick also doesn't care who you are or whatever's happening. Bill Belichick is very okay. How am I going to win this football game? I don't care who you are.
I mean, that's how Tom Brady started.
Yep.
He was some random rookie who took over for Drew Bledsoe, who had been very good the whole career. But Bill saw, okay, this Brady guy looks pretty solid. He starts.
Yeah. And then you remember in 2017 or 18, whatever it was, when Brady started to, in his eyes, fall off, he tried to replace him with Jimmy G.
Yep.
And that's Tom Brady.
Granted, I think, I will say that maybe, I wonder if Bill Belichick could have turned Jimmy G into something. That's one of the greatest mysteries in the world, is if Bill Belichick could have made Jimmy G a good quarterback, because Kyle Shanahan can't.
Nope.
I mean, Bill traded Jimmy and then wanted to trade back for him.
Mm-hmm.
He missed him that much. I don't know why. We've all watched Jimmy Garoppolo play football, and he looks very bad at it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, this is Bill Belichick we're talking about. This is the guy. This is absolutely the kind of guy who would just bench a first-round quarterback for Bailey Zappe. If there was anybody who would do it, it's him. And plus, it's not like he's paying Mac Jones a whole lot. Neither of them are getting paid a whole lot of money. So really, it's not like you're losing out on cash if you're starting Zappe over Jones either. So, I mean, really, there's no real reason to not go with Zappe if he keeps on winning.
I agree. But speaking of, we talked about Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo's 49ers. There's been rumors that they could be in the market for a certain free agent, Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, a few times. Heard the guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you think the 49ers need a guy like him?
Absolutely. I literally wrote in all caps in my notes, the 49ers need CMC. Here's the thing. They need McCaffrey. They don't have a good running back. Jeff Wilson is bad.
Yep.
McCaffrey is not bad. The issue with this fit is if they have Christian McCaffrey, I will give him 2 weeks before his legs stop working.
I agree with that.
He's too injury prone to be a workhorse running back, and the Niners would work him like a workhorse running back.
Yep.
So while the Niners need him, they shouldn't trade for him because they trade 3 first-rounders and get a guy who misses half the season. I think a team that fits really well with McCaffrey is the Bills. Twitter loves that match because, I mean, the Bills are probably the best team in football, and they don't have a very good running back, and McCaffrey is apparently on the trade block. So obviously, Twitter will say, oh yeah, Bills should go get McCaffrey. I don't think it'll happen because I don't think, well, first off, I'm not sure the Panthers are going to trade him, and second off, the Bills are definitely not going to trade 3 firsts for a guy that they don't really need to win. But if there was a fit for McCaffrey, it would be in Buffalo because they'll give him 15 carries a game at most, and he'll do great.
Yeah, I think, first of all, the Panthers need to rebuild.
They do.
The Panthers 100% should move CMC.
They're horrible.
Baker Mayfield just isn't the guy to get it done. I mean, they already moved Robbie Anderson for what it's worth. He's again, a middle of the pack receiver, but like the Carolina Panthers need to blow it up. And I think the guy that you can get most back for, obviously, is Christian McCaffrey. And I think the biggest problem with him, obviously, he's very, very injury prone. But this year, he has played all 6 games. And he hasn't played a full season since 2019. And he's only 26 years old. Definitely got a few good years left. But I think it's either the 49ers or the Buffalo Bills. And if you picture him on the 49ers, imagine him and Deebo Samuel together.
That'll be dirty. Shanahan would have a field day.
Oh, but then with that, him on the Bills is scary.
Yeah.
Look out, everybody else.
If he goes to the Bills, it's over because no one can stop that offense ever.
Yeah. I think this is going to be interesting. The deadline is November 1st at 4 p.m. And whether or not he gets moved, I think he should because the Carolina Panthers are 1-5. They don't look to be going anywhere. There's not a lot of life with that team. Baker Mayfield's out because of an injury, of course, but you just get the sense that team just isn't clicking, and I think they just need to, clean slate, start over. Let's get some round picks and stuff like that to get back for him. But the Christian McCaffrey sweepstakes is going to be one to watch up until that deadline.
I will just throw out one final team before we wrap this up that should look at McCaffrey, and that's the Denver Broncos.
Sure.
I mean, they need to do something to make that offense not the most bland thing in the history of football because that's what it is right now.
Yep.
And
led by who?
We'll get to him.
Danger Russ,
Mr. Unlimited. But, I mean, McCaffrey might be able to save the offense, but honestly, I don't think he can. I just kind of want to see him go to Denver just to see if he's physically capable of saving this offense because it feels like it's been dead all year.
Yep.
And, I mean, do you even think Russ can save this lovely city from Russ's abysmal cooking?
No. I mean,
it doesn't seem possible, right?
We come on here and talk about Russell Wilson week after week, and I'm kind of always hopeful, things are going to change. He's going to start to turn it around, but week after week, game after game, he's just not getting it done. I mean, let's be honest, he's looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year.
I mean, he has.
Right?
I think I saw that, like, total QBR, he's like 25 out of 32.
And
He is one worse than Aaron Rodgers, who's been 24.
Is he now?
Yeah. Interesting there. Can you guess who's been the worst? I bet you can't.
Carson Wentz.
No. Similar to Russ, Baker Mayfield.
Oh.
Also a cook.
Yeah. I should have saw
The
that
chef,
one.
Baker.
Yeah, they're both putting on clinics this year.
Yeah,
but,
they're both horrible.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, I think, has been the most disappointing player in football this year, and I really don't think it's close. So, McCaffrey to the Broncos, that would be interesting.
I just want to see it just purely to see if he can save anything. I don't think he can.
I would feel bad for him going there.
Oh, I would too. That would be so rude. He doesn't deserve this. He deserves better.
No.
But I would like to thank everybody for joining us here on the Victory Lap. I have been James.
I have been Shane.
No, I have been James.
You're James.
No.
I'm Shane. I think.
No one will understand this. But I would like to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And yeah, thank you all for joining us here. We'll be back next week.